stand for the pledge if you're able, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, starting on my right.
Councilperson Josh Hart.
Councilperson Brent Meyer.
Mayor Jimmy John King.
Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Walton.
Looking for approval of tonight's agenda. Anything to be added?
Should be good.
Anything up here? Let me look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That'll carry. Next, we looking for approval of the council meeting minutes of March 12th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That'll take us into finance and budget. We have the accounts payable and the additional listing there. Any questions with that? Ask our finance director, Carla.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That'll also carry. That's gonna take us right into motions and general business. The first item under motions and general business tonight is a resolution calling for a feasibility study. Resolution calling for feasibility study for 2025 CIP. The current CIP schedule, we are requesting that a feasibility study be ordered for the 2025 CIP 11th Avenue Northwest roadway realignment and improvements. The first step in the process to have a 2025 CIP is to order a feasibility study, which will provide the necessary information to design the project. Once the study is completed, it will be presented to City Council for consideration of approval to move forward. Attached is the city engineer's quote to prepare the feasibility study not to exceed $14,000. We have our engineer with us if there's any questions or discussion. Jenna, I got a question.
Yes.
Couldn't we put this, we're paying for the whole road, correct? The city?
Just
A large majority of it. Yes.
So what are we gonna get out of the feasibility study exactly, is what I'd like to know. If it's feasible to even do it?
Yes and no. Yeah, we qualify that as feasible to do it. It isn't required by the state statute for us to do it on a project that we're fully paying for. If we are going to assess a portion of it, then we do have to do the feasibility study. So there would only be a little bit at Kodiak Drive that could be assessed.
Well, the only reason I'm asking is just wondering if it wouldn't be just as well to put the $14,000 towards plans and specs. Or do we have to do the feasibility study?
If we assess, we have to do the feasibility study.
Are
If
we planning to
decide not
assess much of this?
It's just like Jenna said, pretty small portion, down on the south end of the new subdivision there.
With what Al ties in,
Yeah.
with his property.
The Chiok subdivision.
Yeah, the whole length of his subdivision?
right by where the road is.
Just the driveway?
Yeah.
Is it just the road or would it be the properties too?
There's a little bit.
66 roadway, I'm assuming it would be the properties also or not?
What was
Side
that?
properties?
There is a little portion of the subdivision that isn't
South of the street.
south of north of the street. Kodiak, I think
By that
that's,
retention pond.
that is, like our property comes to a kind of a point and there's just, I think, a little bit. But then what do we do if we are gonna defer any? If we're gonna take it down, all the way down the end of the gravel road and defer those assessments so that
So
it's
this would be,
blacktop all the way?
We are blacktopping the length.
I don't know, we had talked about it once, that was Sean's
So
recommendation.
All the way in?
That would be something the feasibility report would look into, of where we should start and end, but we can do that in discussion. Really, the only portion that we can assess is about 63 feet.
63 feet by what, 63 feet, or
It's
it'll
just,
be half the road, I mean, to the center of the
well,
road?
we can't assess for the road because that's not public infrastructure,
Okay,
right? So it is a parcel that is south of Kodiak Drive that has 63 feet of frontage on this roadway.
Oh, yeah.
So
isn't that the outlot on that side?
it is, but it's not owned by the city. So therefore, we can assess for it.
Okay, well, I guess the only thing I'm wondering is, would it be cheaper for us to not assess it?
And just starting to.
Because there's no underground there, we're just assessing for the road, correct? And put the 14,000 towards plans and specs is that's what I'm kind of wondering.
Right, we only ever assess for the road, not the underground, and actually all of our underground's already in, so
Yep.
this is only a roadway design. If you don't want to assess for any portion of it, we don't have to have the feasibility report.
Are we going clear through, as a staff or anybody decide, or is that, we're gonna go by the feasibility study if we should go through or not, or clear to the end?
That's one way to look at it, is we give you different options of what you can do and see what you can afford. That's part of the feasibility study. I can just as well do that in preliminary design if that's what we want, but we're just gonna need direction.
Well, I'm just bringing it up, I don't know what the rest of the council wants to do. I was just wondering that when I read this, because I thought we were gonna have the whole road anyhow. And
Yep,
we pretty much knew where the road was gonna go. I mean, you know what I'm saying, I'm not trying to give you a hard time, Jen, I'm just trying to.
Are we moving the road to match up?
Yeah, we have
we
realigned
are,
It comes, what it does is it comes and takes
It's cut through there, right? And then it's gonna get paved how far down?
well, we're required to
Possibly
go
clear
to
to
the
the-
subdivision.
at least
yeah.
to Kodiak.
Yeah,
Well, Kodiak's up here.
Yeah, it's up here, right?
So, yes, we would be realigning that intersection, so we already know that. We would be recreating an entrance to the parking there so that, the park entrance would come off of 11th instead of having two side by side, so we already know that. The, water main and the sanitary sewer are already installed, so we wouldn't be doing anything with those. It would be storm sewer and roadway, that we would need to do, and
We're talking about the path down there.
potentially looking at, a path or making connectivity for other options. So that's one thing the feasibility can look at, is what are the costs of all these different components, what do we actually want to move forward with design or not. But we can do that. So basically, a feasibility report brings you a little bit into preliminary design, no matter what.
Staff, what do you?
So Jenna, what if we don't do the feasibility study and then, Brady or Tori, whoever owns that, decides that it might be in their best interest to pay for the blacktop to come all the way?
They would have to petition for it, and
Then we'd be
then we
okay.
also wouldn't need
The
a feasibility report, because if it's,
Okay.
They
if,
have spoken to me about that.
if there's
They
a
do
hundred,
want
They annexed it, they didn't want to at this point.
if all
They wouldn't have
property,
to be annexed in, they could still pay for the road though.
if all property owners petition, 100% petition for an improvement to be done, you do not have to go through the full assessment process. So we also would not have to have a public hearing for it because it was petitioned to be done. So therefore, we wouldn't need the feasibility report or the public hearing process. So,
So maybe we should have that conversation with them.
Well, maybe we should, yeah, before we kind of decide on this one way or the other. Because if they want it blacktop down there, it'd be cheaper to do it at this time, I'm sure.
So Sean, have you decided, because like a couple of years ago, you didn't want it to end and go gravel, you wanted to go, but it doesn't matter. I
I
mean,
mean, obviously, it's nice to have things clean all over again, but obviously it comes with a price.
yeah,
So whatever you guys decide. we live with.
So if we did go all in, then we'd do a defer assessment, and then we could set a time that it has to be,
We could set a deferred assessment, sure, if they're never next in the city. How would you enforce that?
you can still, I think, set we'd have to check that, but I think you could say, or 10 years, or
How about if
5
we,
years.
how about this, if we check some of this first, before we decide on the feasibility study? Because, I mean, we're not rushed just yet, are we? We're not being pushed too hard to,
With the approval process and everything, starting now would give us lined up to, you know, plans approved December-ish, so just taking it through that whole process.
well, yeah, but I think one more meeting would be all right. I mean,
One more meeting will
I'm
be
not saying,
fine.
I'm not gonna put it on the back burner forever, Jen, I just, you know,
Okay.
we probably better clear a couple of these things up first before we kind of decide. What do you guys think? This is me talking,
Makes
you
sense
guys
to me.
gotta decide.
I actually agree. I don't wanna spend $14,000 just to be able to assess town, you know, I mean, I think that's kind of where you're getting at, right?
Well, we're gonna have compliance and specs, and they're gonna cost some money too, so I mean.
Right. But you gotta do those either way.
Right. How about, Bill?
Yeah, I guess with your consensus that that's gonna be our next project, that gives us the ability to visit with those last two property owners.
Yeah,
Saying,
we
are you gonna
decide.
be with us on this, or you don't see any need for it?
Isn't that what we decided? I mean, we decided this was
Yeah.
2025, is when it was getting done.
Yep.
I'm not
Yeah,
trying to
that's ours.
prevent it from getting done, I'm just trying to.
Because then it gives us a definite question to answer them. Hey, the council's getting ready to do this project,
Yeah.
you want it in with us or not?
So I think, can we make it work on the next meeting, put it on,
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
need a motion to table it until
table it,
till the next meeting,
make a
which
motion for that?
April 8th.
Do we have a motion to table
I'll make a
till,
motion to table matter.
till the next council meeting? Second?
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Opposed? That carries, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up too, John. Next item, codification of ordinances. The ninth revision and codification of ordinances has been completed. These include ordinances that have been adopted since 2022. The codification changes include Chapter 2, Administration and Operations, Chapter 3, Licenses and Regulations, Chapter 13, Zoning. Approval, the council action request is approval of ordinance 2024-3, an ordinance adopting revision and codification of ordinance to be known as the Stewartville City Code. Motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That'll carry. That'll take us right into the mayor's staff and consultant reports. The mayor's report tonight. The cities of Stewartville would like to send their sympathy to the families of Arlene Hankin, Bill Hubbard, Tim Heiner, Connie Reline, and Dennis Stangler. Now, don't forget, the Sons of the American Legion are holding their Easter egg hunt this Saturday beginning at 10 a.m. at Bear Cave Park. Be sure to bring your own baskets to collect your eggs, and the park will be open for that. I seen somebody on Facebook was worried about that, Sean, they saw the post, that the gates were closed.
Obviously for that, we will.
Yep, that's what I figured. Sometimes the obvious isn't obvious to
Try
some
to work
people.
with people.
I know. We've worked with enough people, we know how that works too. April 3rd, Stewartville Chamber of Commerce Job Fair, it's at 5:30 to 6:30 at the Civic Center. April 7th is Dad's Belgian Waffle Breakfast. Sunday, April 7th from 8:30 to noon at the Legion, sponsored by the Lions Club. It's always a good meal. April 8th is Meal with Appeal, a potato supper that's been going on for years and years, 4:30 to 6:30 at UMC, sponsored by the Morning Lions Club. And let's send a congratulations out to all of our boys and girls basketball teams that are all placing at the state, also our top two wrestlers, Regrin and Tanner Elzen. It's been a great fall, winter, and I bet the spring will be a great one too. We've got some great teams this year, 2024 has been a great year. And let's say happy Easter to everyone, because the holiday is coming up this Sunday. Get together with your friends, family. You spread a little joy to someone. Let your light shine before others. Brandon.
Yep.
Thank you all. have a happy Easter, that's all I've got for report tonight. Bill, city administrator report?
Just a small report, some quick updates for you in the packet, nothing more to add this year.
Not bad. Any questions for Bill? You ready to report? All right, thank you, Bill. Carla, finance director's report?
We had the auditors here, everything is going good, still trying to get them a little bit more information. April 11th is the finance meeting with the auditors for the draft audit report. And they will be here on the 23rd for council to present that evening. And just a heads up that on April 11th is the CIP open house for the 2024 project down at the fire hall that Jenna and I got set up, and we got all the letters out for it.
What time do we meet on April 11th? For the audit?
11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay, good. Thanks for getting all them letters on and stuff too. Any questions for Carla? All right, thank you, Carla. Sean, Public Works Director report?
Carla just pointed out my typo, that our new engineering tech position started in 2024, not 2023. Dylan has started as of March 13th, and I'm very happy, impressed with his abilities, his knowledge, his personality. So far he's worked out great, and he's pointing out things that he can do that I didn't even know that he was going to be able to do. So very happy with that. Another good problem we have is our salt storage this year. We have not taken any of our salt contract yet, and I have to take that by the end of May. So we gotta figure out where we're gonna store our salt. They're having these problems all over the place, so they have offered for a flat fee, it'll be $700 for them to hold it, store it for us for next year. We're weighing the options, whether we just buy a big tarp and tarp it off someplace in ours with plastic or whatever, which would be cheaper if we can find a spot to do that and it's out of the road enough. But good news is next year, I don't know if I'll even contract any salt. If I do, it'll be very minimal.
$700, that's a done deal in my book. Don't have to deal with it at all?
Yeah.
Other than that, everything's status quo.
Any questions or concerns for Sean? Well, we got a little snow, a little rain, Sean, maybe the grass will grow when the guys come over this
Get
year.
some moisture now.
All right, thanks you. Nate, library director report tonight? Oh, excuse me, Nate. I skipped Jenna. Jenna, I'm very sorry about that. Jenna, city engineer report?
All right, on top of the neighborhood meeting on the 11th, we also have our pre-con for the 2024 CIP, so that would be April 9th. And at that time, we'll learn more about schedule and everything, so have more to update, but other than that, you know what I'm up to.
Any questions for Jenna? Thanks, Jenna. Now, Nate, library director report.
Thank you. Above and beyond what's in my report, our website is going to be fully updated and launched on Thursday. So should be a slightly different look and should be easier for us to update going forward. So I'm looking forward to that. A big thanks to Public Works for the deep clean that they did on the library last Friday. And that project's gonna be completed this Friday, where Friday afternoon we're bringing in carpet cleaners. We're gonna be closed on Saturday for Easter weekend, so give the long weekend for everything to dry out. And so those are our big things. And then the annual report that I included in your packet, sorry for the extra 21 pages.
Just saw that.
The quick, and I can answer any questions you might have about our report from last year. The one things I would point out are we had a slight decline in overall circulation, although a sizable bump in downloadable books, and a huge increase in programming from 2022 to 2023. We went from 23 in-person programs in 2022 to 93 in 2023. Attendance for those programs was close to 1,200 in 2022 and 3,600 in 2023. Additionally, we did a lot of off-site programming, and that's something that's going to be increasing, has been increasing this year as well. We did almost none of that in 2022 and in the last few years with the pandemic. And I've really been doing more things away from the library for folks, whether that's story times at the Tiger Tots or other other things. That's something we're working on doing more. And I'm hoping to actually do a couple of the, I'm hoping we get to do a couple of those kids activities during music in the park this summer.
Any questions for Nate?
Yeah, I was just curious, on the interlibrary loan materials, there's, you got the sent out versus,
Yeah.
requested from other libraries, and then there's the differential. Does that number actually mean anything management-wise, or is it just an interesting number to look at?
So historically, what it means certain things. Historically, our library has been a slight net lending library, and in the last 3 or 4 years, particularly during the pandemic, we became more of a net borrowing library. That was largely because our library was open more than other libraries were, so we had other people coming to the Stewartville library, and to meet that demand, we had to request things from other places. Financially, there isn't necessarily a big tie-in with that. We are, for Selco, we're technically qualified as a medium-sized library, but the difference between a medium like us and a large, which would be like Austin and Northfield, is pretty significant in terms of the collections that they're able to offer for interlibrary loans. So on any given month, we definitely borrow more items from larger libraries than we send out. There are different ways that you can that we could game that system. We could buy more bestsellers and then send them off to Phil Holds in Winona, which doesn't really feel like something that would be an awesome use of tax dollars. Or we could have more eccentric collections. I'm sure every time you hear me talk, you think you must have incredibly eccentric collections, you weirdo. But actually, we kind of are a little down the middle in terms of the books we buy. So we don't have, really kind of esoteric stuff that only Stewartville would have. So yeah, that's one of those ways where you can also, we don't have a specific thing that you could really other than, we have the best X-Men collection in the state of Minnesota, but that's, there's this real odd dude who donates them all, and so, I mean, real weird. So that's not really tax dollars going to that one either. Yeah, so, I don't know, hopefully that answered your question.
All right, thank you for that explanation, Nate. Any more questions for Nate? Thank you, Nate. No fire chief tonight, no pool director. That'll take us to our commission committee board reports, Chamber of Commerce, nothing in our packet tonight. EDA, HRA, minutes of February 20th are in there. Finance. We have a meeting coming up, April 11th?
Coming up on April 11th.
Yeah. Library?
Nothing.
Park.
Meetings are in there for March 11th. Minutes are in there, I should say.
All right, personnel?
Nothing.
Planning and zoning?
Nothing.
Public safety?
Since the last time that I talked with you guys, we had the missing 12-year-old. I want to send out a big shout out to the fire department, because, I mean, this was, I think they got called in at midnight or so. We were out until about 3 in the morning, a little after. They were rock stars. The community, there was a great support of the community. All of a sudden, people started showing up out of the woodwork, which maybe wasn't super helpful at some points, but they were out looking, and it was great. It was really cool to see a smaller, bigger, village do that. There were several deputies, the sheriff, the captain, sergeants. It was pretty cool to see. We got the state patrol helicopter down here, and we're very glad and happy to see that little boy return home.
Good.
Mom and Dad were happy.
Well
I talked to
turned
them
out.
the next day, and he was still semi getting in trouble, but we were happy to see him home.
Yeah.
So other than that, there's nothing pressing going on in the greater community of Stewartville.
Thank you for keeping us safe. You're doing a great job, thanks a lot.
Oh, did you guys see that Brian Howard's retiring? You guys saw that, right?
Yes, yeah.
35 years, I think it's time. Sad though.
Public Works,
Nothing.
ready?
Just minutes from the new community councils that we're a part of, so we're just getting started on that, but it's us communities that get a chance to interact and then pass on to the main ready board.
Roll call?
Minutes, nothing really for us too much this time around.
Transit Advisory Committee, nothing tonight. No communications in our packet. Anyone like to use the open mic? If not,
Make a motion to adjourn.
this is our last motion before Easter, and it's a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?